Hey, welcome back. Today we're diving into something that has become so confusing when it shouldn't be, but it could make your head spin. And that is what to eat, but more specifically, what and how to eat in your perimenopausal years. Between ketogenic diets, paleo, carnivore, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, low carb, carb cycling, it is no wonder why women are so freaking overwhelmed. Look, while some of these eating styles may have a time and place, I like to keep things as simple, sustainable, and accessible as possible. So, 3 food rules that I live by and recommend are: number 1, focus on eating mostly whole foods and less processed foods, aka junk food. Number 2, eat all of your macronutrients. That includes protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And number 3, make sure that you're getting enough of each of these macronutrients for your needs. So let's break this down further. When I say whole foods, I'm not talking about the overly priced supermarket chain, although I do like to go there every now and then. They have some really great products. But what I'm really talking about is eating foods that are closest to their natural form, such as vegetables, fruit, nuts, seeds, legumes, beans, and animal protein like meat, chicken, fish, eggs, and so on. The majority of your meals should consist of these real foods. They're going to be the most nutrient dense. They don't have added sugars, preservatives, or a bunch of ingredients that you can't even pronounce. When you eat like this, by default, you're going to minimize foods that are high in sugar, those snack-like foods, and all the stuff that is lining the grocery store shelves that are not providing the nutrients that your body needs. I'm talking about cereal, cookies, ice cream, crackers, chips, protein bars, and all the stuff that we love but is super addictive, hyper palatable, and quite frankly, designed to create addictive eating habits. These things cause inflammation in the body. They can cause blood sugar imbalance. They can disrupt your gut microbiome and create nutritional deficiencies that can cause or worsen your symptoms. And hello, in perimenopause, we don't need anything else coming at us, right? We've got enough symptoms to deal with, so real food is where it's at. Now, that is not to say that you can never have a snack or indulge every now and then. But what we teach our clients and what I recommend to you is to make healthier swaps. So say you love crackers. Look for brands that use minimal ingredients. I personally love the brand Mary's Gone Crackers. Right now, I'm eating their Super Seed variety with, I think it has like everything but the bagel blend. I don't know. They're delicious. I have them with hummus, guacamole, or like turkey slices. That's my go-to snack lately. Maybe you love potato chips. Fine. Opt for a brand that uses avocado oil or olive oil instead of canola oil or seed oils. A really great brand to check out is Siete. They have so many yummy snacks. All right, moving along to your macronutrients. These are going to be your protein, your fat, and your carbohydrates. We need all of these macronutrients, period, full stop. So protein, besides being the most satiating macronutrient, contains B vitamins, amino acids, and much needed minerals. And we're all so depleted of minerals. I've talked about this on previous episodes. Animal protein specifically is more bioavailable than plant proteins, meaning it's easily absorbed by the body and broken down into usable amino acids. But let's talk about some of the other benefits of protein, because so many women underconsume it, especially in this stage of life, and it's really important now more than ever. So protein supports muscle growth. As we age, we lose muscle mass. This is known as sarcopenia. Not only does it give us the toned look that we want when we're eating enough protein, but it supports strength, mobility, and our metabolism. Protein also supports bone health. It gives our bones strength and flexibility. As we age and lose estrogen, it leads to bone loss. Osteoporosis and low bone mass are currently estimated to be a major public health risk for over 50 million US adults aged 50 or older. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be hunched over, walking with a cane, or walker in my old age if I can help it. The other thing, protein balances blood sugar. I know you've heard me say this a million times before. It is important to avoid constant blood sugar highs and lows that are typically a result of meals that are low in protein and high in carbohydrates. When you skimp on protein, your cortisol and your insulin levels are going to be affected. And if you're trying to lose weight, like so many women are in this stage of life, you will have a very difficult time. Protein also supports your cognitive function. It has amino acids, like I mentioned earlier, that are needed for optimal brain health, like cognition, memory, mental sharpness, focus, and all of these things, unfortunately, decline as we age and lose our precious, precious hormones. We also need protein for gut repair, hormone production, thyroid function, a robust immune system, healthy moods, healthy skin, hair, nails, and so on. Now, quality does matter. I do recommend, if you can afford it, investing in grass-fed and or pasture-raised meats and wild-caught fish without added growth hormones, any use of antibiotics, or corn or soy fed. Think about things like grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken and eggs, organic turkey, organic lamb, wild-caught salmon, cod, halibut, scallops, or anchovies, things like that. And if you can tolerate dairy, organic yogurt, and goat or sheep milk cheeses. Those are typically more tolerable to people, especially if they do have a sensitivity to cow's milk. All right, moving on to fat. Fat is vital for hormone production, more specifically healthy fat. It promotes hormone production in the steroidal hormone pathways. Those are our sex hormones. Sex hormones are made from cholesterol, which is made from healthy fats. So a low-fat diet is bad news for your hormones. On that note, cholesterol isn't bad either. You need cholesterol. And if it's quote unquote high on your labs, your doctor likely isn't doing a full lipid panel or taking other things into account, like your thyroid function, the fact that you are losing hormones, especially estrogen, your overall metabolic health, any inflammation in the body, your liver health, and so on. You really do need to get a full picture of your health, not just look at total cholesterol. That is one marker. It doesn't give us the full story. All right, back to fat. So some healthy fats that you can enjoy are avocados, olives, raw nuts like cashews, pistachios, walnuts, pecans, almonds, macadamia nuts. You can have some chia seeds and or ground flax seeds. I like to add some flax seeds to yogurt or a smoothie every now and then. That helps support detoxification, or more specifically, estrogen metabolism. So nuts and seeds should be refrigerated because the oils can become rancid in heat, and we don't need to be adding any more inflammation to the body. So you want to enjoy them kind of as condiments or a small snack. You don't want to overdo it with nuts and seeds because they are going to be higher in fat, which is going to be your most caloric macronutrient. And you don't want to use them to replace animal protein. Like I said earlier, animal protein is what's more bioavailable to the body. Now, cooking with healthy fat is also a great way to get your daily intake, but you're going to want to avoid things like canola, vegetables, soybean, or seed oils. These are going to be more inflammatory. So instead, you want to use some healthy alternatives like coconut oil, avocado oil, even grass-fed butter, ghee, tallow, and or extra virgin olive oil. All right, let's talk about carbs. Is there anything more controversial than carbohydrates? Carbs are your body's main source of energy. They break down into glucose, which is what our brain utilizes for energy. So the fiber that is in complex carbs is needed to feed the good gut bacteria that we have and need, right? Nowadays, we have a lot of bad gut bacteria due to poor diet, stress, the fact that we have like lower stomach acid in this stage of life. We're losing hormones, so that alters the gut microbiome. So we want to make sure that we're getting ample fiber, and that typically is going to come from your complex carbohydrates to feed the good gut bugs. And we also need carbs for to support thyroid function. All right, you don't want to go too low carb, especially in this stage of life, because our thyroid function does become compromised as we start to lose hormones, as we start to lose progesterone specifically, and we have that fluctuation of estrogen. So you want to do what you can to support your thyroid function. Now, when it comes to carbs, it really depends on the type of carbs that you're consuming, how much you're consuming, and how much activity you get. If you're somebody who is mostly sedentary and you're eating a lot of simple carbs like pizza, bagels, muffins, bread, or pasta, I know they're all delicious. That unfortunately is a recipe for blood sugar imbalance, and that's going to increase your risk of insulin resistance, inflammation, and of course, the dreaded weight gain in this stage of life. However, if you're eating mostly complex carbohydrates like lentils, beans, quinoa, starchy vegetables, even some rice, potato, oats, and fruit, but you pair them with ample protein and fat, and you strength train several times per week, which I hope you are, then you're on the right track. It's more about how you consume carbs that really is what matters. Try not to have naked carbs, meaning carbs without protein or any fat. So, say you want to enjoy some ice cream this summer, which I know I'm going to be, make sure that you have it after you have consumed a high protein meal. All right. Next, I mentioned you want to make sure that you are eating enough of these macronutrients. So let's dive into that a little bit. What most women don't realize is that under eating or going too long in between meals or just not eating enough protein, fat, and carbs could greatly impact your perimenopausal symptoms. It is especially important to balance your blood sugar, which I've said a million times already, in this stage of life. So eating enough calories every day is really vital, and the correct balance of your macronutrients. So please know that every woman has different requirements depending on their current weight, what their ideal weight is, the level of activity, and so on. We help our clients with all of this in the Hormone Rescue, but I want to give you some general guidelines to aim for. So for protein, I recommend aiming for at a minimum 100 grams per day, mostly from animal protein. For carbohydrates, I recommend aiming for about the same, 100 grams or more per day. And then for fat, I recommend aiming for about 50 to 70 grams per day. Now, again, every woman is different. You may need more protein. You may need more carbs or less fat, depending on your goals. But that is a pretty good starting point. Now, while I am not a fan of tracking every single thing, I know a lot of women aren't, I am a fan of tracking at least your protein because, like I said earlier, so many women are under consuming this vital macronutrient. So for protein, a general rule of thumb is to aim for about 0.75 up to a gram of protein per ideal pound of body weight. So for example, if your goal weight is 140 pounds, you would aim to consume about 105 up to 140 grams of protein per day. And ideally, you would split that up into 3 meals and, if necessary, a snack. So if you find it difficult to get all of your protein in, I recommend supplementing with a quality protein powder, which you can add to a shake, yogurt, or even consume as a hot beverage. So the protein powder that I love and recommend is Equip Prime protein powder. It comes in a bunch of different flavors like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, peanut butter, iced coffee, which I have yet to try, and unflavored if you prefer. It is made from grass-fed beef, but don't worry, it does not taste like beef. It actually is really delicious. I love the chocolate one. Sometimes I will swap that out for the strawberry one or even the peanut butter, but I tend to always go back to chocolate because it's just so versatile. It does not taste like beef. I have tried so many protein powders over the years. I am probably what you would call a protein powder snob, and this is the one that I stick with. Our clients love it, so if you want to try that, I will link to it in the show notes, but if you want to save 15%, you can use my code healthcoachclaudia. All right, back to carbs. There is some school of thought that women who strength train or who want to build muscle, which most of us should be doing in this stage of life, need higher amounts of carbs. Some recommend 200 up to 300 grams of carbs per day. Now, that may be the case for you. And if you go that route, I do recommend working with a macro coach and even a personal trainer who understands the changes that a woman goes through in this stage of life. Now, I personally don't feel good going that high carb. I have experimented with it. So on the days that I don't lift weights, I do tend to stick around 100 grams of carbs or less. And then the days that I lift weights, I may go a little bit higher. So to come back around to fat, a lot of women believe that fat makes you fat. Please get this out of your head. However, portion does matter, or portion size does matter. So especially if you're trying to lose weight, like I said earlier, fat is going to be your most caloric macronutrient, and calories do matter when it comes to weight loss. So I typically recommend about 2 tablespoons of healthy fat per meal. All right. next, to fast or not to fast. Fasting has become all the rage. So unlike many hormone experts out there, I'm not entirely opposed to fasting. There are different types of fast, and there's plenty of science behind it showing all the benefits. Now, I do believe it's necessary to give our digestive system a break and not be consistently eating or snacking. That's going to affect your blood sugar, and we don't want those constant blood sugar highs and lows all day, like I've mentioned many times. So what I typically recommend is an overnight 12 to 14 hour fast. That's pretty safe for most women and shouldn't add any more stress to your body. If you break your fast correctly, meaning that you eat adequate protein, fat, and carbs at your first meal. Too many women fast in the name of weight loss, and they end up under eating because they have such a small window of time to consume all of their meals. So try to pay close attention to how you feel when you fast. Do you feel good or do you feel sluggish? And if you do track your cycle, which I know is difficult in your perimenopausal years because our periods are all over the place, but take note of when you feel more tired or you have more cravings. That is typically the week or so before you're going to have a period. So during that time, you don't want to have long fasting windows. You want to keep it to about 12 hours, no more than that. All that said, the elephant in the room is this. Eating this way is going to require some planning on your part. It's going to require weekly grocery shopping and even some meal prep. But it doesn't have to be so complicated or take up a ton of time. I personally don't like to spend hours on end in the kitchen. I don't have the time to do that. And I don't want to, right? There's a million things I would rather be doing. So I'm all about convenience. Maybe you buy organic pre-washed or pre-chopped salad mixes or vegetables. Don't be afraid to use organic frozen vegetables even, like cauliflower rice or broccoli. Maybe you buy a pre-cooked chicken every week, or even canned organic chicken or wild-caught salmon in a can. Find whatever works for you. There's plenty of healthy options out there. All right, to sum it all up, while it is very easy to blame our hormones on everything in this stage of life, as you have learned, what you eat makes a massive difference. So that is why in the Hormone Rescue, we focus a lot on your food, what you eat, what you don't eat, how to set up your plate, how to balance your blood sugar, make sure that you're getting adequate macro and micronutrients, following an anti-inflammatory diet, and more. So if you are ready to get support and make necessary changes to optimize your hormones in perimenopause, work with us. You're going to get access to easy to consume hormones education, practical action steps to take, functional testing so you're not guessing, a personalized plan, and ongoing support so you get results. All right, I will see you next week. Hey, before you go, if you're resonating with this podcast and realize that your symptoms are anything but normal, my 6-month comprehensive program, The Hormone Rescue, may be a great fit for you. My team and I help women in their mid-30s to early 50s improve symptoms such as fatigue, disrupted sleep, anxiety, erratic moods, bloating, and so much more. We do this by utilizing functional testing, comprehensive blood work review, a personalized plan tailored to you, women's health and hormones education, and ongoing support. If you're ready to commit to your health and feel better than you have in years, check out the link in the show notes to learn more about the Hormone Rescue. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not, nor do I act as a doctor or any other medical professional. I am not providing healthcare, medical services, or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease or condition. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice provided by your own medical or mental health provider.